Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my shop. Today is August 10th and it's my weekly shop update. So I've been having a pretty good week here. I managed to kind of get things scheduled so I could spend a decent amount of time outside actually using the sawmill, and that was fun. It's just nice to be out there cutting stuff again and just being outside. Summertime, it's nice just to be not indoors because that's what winter is for. So I'm going to take you outside a little bit and show you what's been going on out there. But here in the shop, first of all, or only of all, I've been working on the sideboard. So I've installed both of the horizontal dividers. So the top one is a dovetail joint, so it gets dovetailed to the top of the leg, and then the lower one or the middle one here gets a twin tenon into the leg. And that was just fun in general to do because I haven't done a whole lot of I don't know, joinery stuff for a while, because like the last major furniture project was the waterfall tables, and there's no real fancy joinery on that. So I guess last time I did this kind of stuff was on the highboy. So it's nice to be in here doing a little fancy joinery work, but yeah. So here's a quick little look at the work of getting those two horizontal dividers installed. So cutting all that joinery and installing the dividers was the video over in the guild this week. If you want to check that out, I'll have a link to that in the description. Those are instructional videos that I do release one a week while I'm building a project like this. But that's what's going on here in the shop this week. Let's go outside. So I've been having a great week playing with the mill. It's been cutting extremely well, and just being out here and moving around and doing some physical activity is just great as well. So I made it through those two bigger logs back there. Those are the silver maple logs that I got last November. They were very spalted, and they were fairly well spalted. They had a decent amount of spalting in them depending on where you were in the log. So before I started cutting it, and even when I got it, I saw that the end of the logs, actually both of the logs, had some blue staining, which is indicative of it having some kind of steel in it at some point in its life, but it might be removed. But more than likely the steel was embedded and the tree grew around it. So this is the stain right here, and it was a lot more obvious before this log got weathered, but it's a really like dark blue black kind of look on the end of the log, and that indicates that there was some steel in there that's reacting with the wood and causing that staining. So as I was cutting, there's actually two steel spikes in here. I think they look like rebar or something like that, because they were about 3/8 of an inch in diameter, and they had kind of a ribbed kind of appearance. They didn't look like they were threaded like a bolt or a lag screw or something. So I'm thinking it was rebar. And then there's also some copper and brass in there. So I think based off where this was off the ground, I think someone was using this as like a light post or something. But as I was cutting from this direction here. So I actually made it through this cut just fine with the blade. It cut through that piece of rebar, and then as I came up to the next cut, this actually had the first piece of rebar, and then it cut through a second piece of rebar, and that second piece of rebar totally just, it stopped the blade. Because after I cut through the first piece of rebar, the blade was so dull that it couldn't really make it through that second piece, and then that was it. And then I just kept cutting, and I cut through everything. So all the ones with the red dots have something embedded in them. The ones out here just have some copper and brass from the copper wire and like a staple, which is actually a really cool look. It didn't do anything to the blade because those metals are too soft. But just, I think having those things embedded in the wood still will make a really cool, you know, if this turns into like a tabletop or a desktop or something like that, you could actually have those pieces of metal still embedded in your desktop as part of the overall look of the wood. So it's just fun to, I don't know, just cut through whatever and have some pretty cool piece of wood in the end. So I'll be editing the videos for these guys, so those will be out probably in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to sharing those adventures, especially the fun cutting through steel bar thing. That was a fun adventure. So that's what I'm up to this week. Let's take a look at some viewer projects. First this week is a whiskey box by Charles. Charles made this box as a birthday gift for his close friend. The box is made of walnut and quilted flame maple using box joints. And inside, the shelf holding the glasses is live edge. Next is the dining table by Skip. This was Skip's first big furniture project. It's 75 by 32 inches in a modern style. The top is red oak and the legs are white oak, all finished with a dark walnut Danish oil. Next is a fishing net by Sean. Sean explains, when boat fishing and you need to net a fish, you can leave the net in the water and the fish stays submerged while you get your gear ready for a release. It's made from oak, maple, walnut, and mahogany. Last this week is a barn-style table by Alejandro. Pine is fine, white base, and dark walnut stain on the top. Alejandro actually made 3 of these tables, 2 for clients and 1 for himself. The bigger tables are 8 feet by 40 inches and the smaller ones are 7 feet by 40 inches. Alejandro has a video of the table's construction over on his YouTube channel, and you can also find more of his work over on Instagram. So I think that's about all for me this week. Thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about the sawmill, anything back in the shop, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. And until next time, happy woodworking.